Hello friends, today we are going to have a small assessment of plot as explained by Aristotle, the great father of criticism. Plot, he said, was the soul of tragedy. He also went on to say that there can be a tragedy without character, but there can be none without a plot. He said, tragedy is the depiction of action consisting of incidents and events. Plot is the arrangement of these incidents and events. It contains the kernel of the action. Aristotle says that plot is the first principle, the soul of tragedy. From this, we understand that plot is sequencing of the action. The poet decides, poet, who, according to the Greek principle, is understood as the maker. He makes the story. He devises it such that the chief character, the central character, meanders through actions. He is goaded by something that goes on in his mind and which is flared up by the flaw that he cannot control. So, the sequence of action that emanates out of that internal activity and the external that is evident, that is made the subject of tragedy, is plot. Incidents mean action, and tragedy is the imitation of actions, both internal and external. The character that has to display the idea of suffering, idea of pity and fear, commits an action. What is then the action? Tragedy is a serious play or drama, typically dealing with the problems of a central character. So, that plot is a good one, which deals with the fortunes of just one, the central character. So, the action that he commits leads him to an unhappy or disastrous ending, brought on, as in ancient drama, by fate and a tragic flaw in his character. Or in modern drama, usually by moral weakness, psychological maladjustment, or social pressures. So, this action, which goes on like a conflict in the mind of the protagonist, when it surfaces and when he does put it into a concretely visible action, it is from there that tragedy begins. And what is the beginning of tragedy? That is hamartia. Hamartia is a Greek term which means to err. It is a fatal flaw leading to the downfall of a tragic hero or heroine. Hamartia is the tragic flaw. It is inherent defect or shortcoming in the hero of a tragedy who is in other respects a superior, being favored by fortune. So what is hamartia? Hamartia is the error that he commits, driven by the inherent defect. That means we all have some kind of weakness or the other. We all are humans and we have as much of strength as we have weaknesses, and we have as much of weakness as we have strength. So tragedy concerns with the fate and fortune and development of his character when he has acted upon this weakness. Just as in King Lear, the weakness is seeking satiation of for a soul that is lusting to be loved, seeking a verbal satiation and acting impulsively is the hamartia. The unlawful deprivation of Cordelia from her rightful share in the territory is this hamartia. When he has deprived, when he has caused Cordelia to be ousted dowryless with anyone who is willing to take her, that is the point of action from which his tragedy begins. Hamartia, for hamartia, it is not needed that we give from the right from the beginning of the life of the character. It is just perfect if we catch the central character from the point of commitment of error. And when he has erred, this is irreversible. What he has done is of such significance, is of such magnitude, the error is of such magnitude that it can be reversed by no means. It is like lifting the floodgates of a dam behind which the water had stood contained for a long time. But once when you release the water from there, there is no means by which you can undo the act done. So hamartia is the beginning of tragedy, where the central character has erred. And he has erred in such intensity and with such impact that it cannot be reversed. Now, when he has erred, there can be any of the two consequences. These two actions will surface: peripeteia, the reversal of fortunes, or anagnorisis, the realization of error, the discovery of error. Let us try to understand what is peripeteia. It is a sudden reversal of fortune or change in circumstances. Now, when one has done an error, what happens? All that which was favorable to the central character turns against him. Macbeth, driven by that over ambition and also excited by Lady Macbeth, commits the murder of Duncan, who was lying there in complete faith of his sincerity and his dedication to him under Macbeth's own roof, and he kills him. From this time on, the character of Macbeth, who was the best of the generals in the army of Duncan, a gradual downfall begins. There is a sudden reversal of fortune. Everyone who was trusting to him had suspicion against him. And the awe and admiration that was for him changed into disgust and hatred. Peripeteia results in a negative reversal of circumstances. It is also known as the turning point, the place in which the tragic protagonist's fortune changes from good to bad. This literary device is meant to surprise the audience, but it is also meant to follow as a result of a character's previous actions or mistakes. Tragedy is plot. And plot is action. The action that was erroneous, that we call as hamartia, leads us logically to peripetia. This man has been essentially good, and therefore it is just right that when he commits an error, should he also experience a, a turn in his fortunes, a change in his fortunes from good to bad. And when this has happened, naturally, there will come a time when he will have a realization. He will discover that he has committed an error, and that is an agnosis. It is a literary work, in a literary work, anagnorisis is the startling discovery that produces a change from ignorance to knowledge. Macbeth has killed Duncan. He believes that by killing Duncan, he will become the King of England. But very tragic for him is that he falls in esteem of his peers. And when he seeks the help of the same witches who had professed that he would be the Thane of Cawdor, the Thane of Glamis, and also the King of England, which at his behest the third witch had proclaimed. Now, when again he sees the Birnam woods walking up to him, when he sees when he is made to realize that Malcolm was not naturally born of his mother's womb, brings a startling discovery. And it is only now that this drunken man, drunken with power and his own prestige, realizes that he is a mortal and he is willing to accept his fate. So, peripety and anagnorisis, in the course of the action of tragedy, form the middle. The protagonist in the beginning commits the error, the hamartia, and then either he realizes the mistake and thereafter follows a reversal of his fortunes, or first he experiences a reversal in his fortunes and then comes the realization. So these are the actions that are plotted in a tragedy as the middle of tragedy. But after the realization, since the protagonist is too good, he cannot live with the idea of having committed such an error, of such far reaching impact, of such universal significance, that he must die. He must be purified. So there should be a course, a point in the action where he experiences the catharsis. The catharsis, which is also a Greek term meaning purification or cleansing or clarification, is the purification and purgation of emotions, particularly pity and fear, through art or any extreme change in emotion that results in renewal and restoration. So let us try to understand the terms here. Catharsis brings about a purification. The central character who has committed the error, when he can do nothing but die, because that is the only way how his error can be cleansed. Unless he is purified, and if he dies as a sinner, we will have nothing to learn from tragedy. Only he should die with a full realization, and he should die with a dignity of acceptance of the consequence of his actions. when he fully accepts the consequence with the same fortitude with which he had committed the error, then, despite his having died, he rises in our esteem. We think of him as an icon to teach us how we should and why we should abstain from error. Catharsis, the death of the protagonist, also brings the purgation of emotions. Now, this is the most important aspect of a tragedy because when he dies, we have a very natural evocation of the two emotions, pity and fear. We pity the hero. We feel that had he not committed that action, which was the root cause of tragedy, the hamartia, he would not have come to these disastrous ends, to this catastrophic end. We pity him. All the while, after the commitment of error, we had been abhorring him. We had been not liking the sequence that is emanating. But that is very natural. The poet has a mission to convey. The mission is when anyone errs, he is bound to have evil consequences. So we pity the suffering hero, we pity the death of the protagonist. And more important than that is that we come to suffer from fear. We fear that a man who was much, much better than us, if he comes to meet this end just because of one error, what will be my fate if I do it? How will I be ever remembered? We are reading the tales of Oedipus, Macbeth, Dr. Faustus as tragedies. And from their catastrophic ends, we also have a fear. The vaccination. The vaccine is given to us, and we learn from that that never would we fall victim to the same goadings, the same pressures, the internal pressures from our weaknesses. So, this is the catharsis. This point of the plot is a very artistic measure taken by the poet, wherein he exercises an extreme change in the emotions. The tragedy is supposed to be enacted. And when we see things happen before our eyes, we learn from them. We go at par with the doing hero, with the suffering hero, with the dying hero, and we experience the same physiological changes, the same changes that go on in his heart and in his self, and then we learn a renewal. We are all brought to a state that we abstain from those errors. Why catharsis? Now, catharsis is the most important philosophical purpose of a tragedy. It is needed, and the theories that support the need of catharsis are the medical ground. First, let us take into consideration the medical ground. What is vaccination? A vaccination is a preventive measure to stop any malady that might come to occur in a body. All the central characters of tragedies have some or the other weakness. So, the vaccination which is given against a disease, when this goes, what is this actually? It is the weakened germ of the same disease. When they enter the body, they make a tremendous impact And the person who has been given the vaccination comes to suffer from fever, stress, pain. But then, for a lifelong period, he is made resistant to that disease. So, catharsis is like a vaccination. It moves into the body when we have seen the protagonist suffer, go through one act to the other, consequence to the other, and ultimately to death. We are given the vaccination that we should abstain from the commitment of this error. The homeopathic theory. The homeopathic theory also says that like treats like. If you have to treat a weakness, you have to see, you have to witness the suffering caused by that disease. It is not necessary that to teach a person how evil it is, how painful it is to suffer from a disease or from a burn. It is not necessary that everyone is made to experience a burn. It is just enough that he sees someone enacting the pain incurred by the burn, and the vaccine would be introduced into the body. Also, a very supportive justification is the human ground. If a person errs who is better than all of us, who is in fact the best among his creed, should we allow him to commit an error because he has done several good deeds apart from this? No, we cannot. Because if we allow him, there would be a psychological tendency to commit one or two more. He will feel that for doing all the good, I can stand unpunished for one error. No, we cannot allow for it. Society is made good only with the exposition of the consequences to an error. So the human ground just wants that even if the person is the best, he must not be forgiven for his offense, the error that he has committed. We all want to see him suffer for that because that is what a human is for. He learns from the others. And when we learn from a person who we have until now understood as a person of great dignity, when through commitment of the error, he has a reversal of fortunes, he realizes, and then he has nothing to do. He is left with no alternative either to be put to an end or that he himself brings an end to his suffering life. We will not feel appeased. This is the human ground, and this is the concept which Aristotle placed that there can be a tragedy without character, but none without plot. If you take the best of the characters, the one who you know is known, is popularly known for evoking the pain among his audience, if you send him on stage without a plot, he will not be able to evoke. He should have a plan before him. And this plan of action, where he will go from happiness to misery, and from the misery again will rise in our esteem, that sequencing of the action is plot. Thank you.